Hi, it's Richard Susie here, high performance coach, and I thought I'd share with you this really powerful distinction known as the rules versus order distinction. And it really came to me while I was on a trip recently to Indonesia, Bali in particular, and I was in the car with the driver, Eric, and I said, Eric, what's the speed on this road at the moment? Because I couldn't see any speeding signs. And his answer was, if there's no traffic, you can drive as fast as you want, and if it's busy, drive slowly. And this was just unknown to me, because coming from Australia, we have, pretty much every road has a speeding restriction, and that's when this idea of rules versus order came to me. Because if you do look on the roads of Bali, you'll notice that despite this lack of rules going on, there seems to be no incidences of car crashes or anything like that. I haven't seen one yet, and I've traveled here many times. And when I was actually out on a motorbike or a scooter out amongst the streets, you do tend to notice, although there may be no rules, there's an implicate order going on there. And you see, rules are man-made, whereas order is a universal principle. And just to give you an idea, when you're out on a scooter, you'll notice things like rule breaking, where other scooters are driving on the other side of the road to overtake traffic. You'll see the occasional dog on a scooter. You'll even see a husband, a wife, and a baby, and possibly another child on the scooter as well. And these ideas are just unknown to us in the West, but again, there's this order going on, a mutual respect, a harmony, and that's way beyond rules. And then it came to my mind, what other rules are we operating by that are purely in our mind, and these rules are something we've been living by because they create these lines of demarcation, and suddenly we're saying what we can and can't do purely by a rule that's man-made or of our own, and in some cases possibly limiting. And see, these rules can appear in a few forms, and I'll just share a few with you. One can be the rule of, I don't know what to do or how to do it, so I won't start. The rule could be, well, that's available to them, there's something special about them, but I don't have what they have, so I can't begin. There could be the rule of, well, what if I fail? Best not to fail, best not to risk rejection. I don't have everything in alignment, so I won't get started. And all these things possibly hinder us, and again, it's just man-made. Now, the other thing I wanted to point out is, if we were doing some code like a programmer, then this idea of the rule of a flowchart, which is like an if-then rule, we have these if-then rules going on in our mind, and that's okay if you're producing a code, and that's okay if there needs to be a finite set of criteria. But when we come to living our lives, it doesn't have to be if-then, a very structured sentence of living. It can be truly exponential. It can go in a 360-degree sphere type format. It doesn't have to stick to this if-then scenario. So my black belt challenge to you is, when you look around your corporate world or your personal life, what rules seem to be followed to the letter, but there's really no order, there's no culture going on, there's no initiative kicking in. Maybe there's so much structure that the people around you, or yourself for that matter, can't really reach the levels that you would have otherwise if those rules weren't in place. So I'm not encouraging you to drive on the other side of the road. I am asking you to look at the rules that may be hindering you from your best possible performance. So until I see you next, live your purpose, share your joy.